This season for the Colts, the main topic of conversation outside of Anthony Richardson has been the secondary, specifically cornerback, with as young as that position is, all the injuries that keep happening to that position. Obviously, coming in, we trade Gilmore, and then Rogers Sr. ends up getting suspended, right? And then he's not on the team. So we're here trying to make do with what we have. Right, there are three cornerbacks drafted by the Colts. Two of them are on the team. Two of them were starters, and Jalen Jones is still starting. And if you look at what Jalen Jones has done this season, there was a tweet from Zach Hicks on Twitter where he put up the stats that Jalen Jones has only allowed 10 receptions on 20 targets for just 86 yards and 184 coverage snaps. Jalen Jones and Marlon Humphrey are the only two cornerbacks in the NFL with over 150 coverage snaps to allow fewer than 100 yards receiving. And that they're extremely impressive. That is a seventh round rookie, ladies and gentlemen. So for all the heat Chris Ballard takes, not doing anything about the corner position, he traded away Gilmore, and it'd be real nice to have him right now. Couldn't have foreseen Rogers Sr. getting suspended. Couldn't have foreseen the Achilles injury to Dallas Flowers, who was actually playing well. Couldn't have foreseen Juju Brents with the hamstring injury that's going to keep him out for a little while, right? But he foresaw enough to know that he needed to do something about the position. He drafted some guys. Juju Brents was playing really well before his injury. Jalen Jones, as a seventh round rookie, is playing really well right now. So between him and then Kenny Moore being on the field, like having those two together is a good combination for us. It's really just that one other side where we need Juju Brents to come back for. But if you look at what Kenny Moore has done this season, he has 61 total tackles. That's first amongst all cornerbacks in the NFL. 46 solo tackles, first amongst cornerbacks. 3 interceptions, third amongst cornerbacks. 1.5 sacks. 7 tackles for loss, which is first amongst all defensive backs. 5 passes defended, 2 pick sixes, which is second in the NFL to Deron Bland, who has 3 pick sixes. So Kenny Moore is all the way back, and he's just not all the way back. This is the best Kenny Moore has ever looked. Mr. Lightning in a bottle is coming out, and that's exactly what he's been every single game. The way he plays in the run game, the way he plays in the pass game, the passer rating that he's allowing this season is the lowest in the entire league in single coverage, minimum of 60 sacks. This is a stat per PFF where Kenny Moore is allowing a 13.2 passer rating. And the next closest to him is Joey Porter Jr. at 16.5. So there are some really good corners in the league right now, and Kenny Moore is the best of them, specifically in single coverage. Playing at an all-pro level right now. This is a guy that's made a Pro Bowl before, should have made multiple Pro Bowls in the past. But this is a year where as long as he can keep this up, he's going to be all-pro Kenny after 2023, and he needs to get the bag as soon as possible. We have to keep him on this team. Look at what he did in just this last game. In week 9, he had 93.9 coverage grade. That was, of course, first in the NFL. That is a very high grade. He only allowed 1 first down, and he had the 2 pick sixes. And in a game where the Colts offense just couldn't get anything going, they didn't even have 200 yards of offense in the game. Kenny Moore, one of the best players on this team, comes up with 14 points on his own from the defensive side of the football. And you can't put a value on that stuff. And if you can, put it in a contract and pay the man. All right, I'm yelling that from the rooftops, and I'll keep saying it. Pay the man. He cannot leave the building. Okay, if we go into 2024 and Kenny Moore is not a Colt still, we have severely messed up. We cannot lose Kenny Moore. Okay, but to continue on with this secondary, if you look at just yesterday, Darrell Baker Jr. ends up with 4 receptions allowed on 8 targets for just 19 yards. So pretty much anything that DJ was giving up in the game Sunday was, short stuff when they were playing that soft coverage that they do in Gus Bradley's defense, and they were getting the ball out to the receivers quickly, but he was jumping on the receivers quickly, and he only allowed 1 yard after the catch. So coming into this week, hoping we'll be able to see Juju Brents. Not too confident in that. Haven't really heard anything about it. So not sure how that's going to go. Hopefully he's able to practice. The team is going to be leaving for Germany on Friday, I believe. So hopefully we're able to get some answers about Juju Brents before that happens. Okay, and then just a couple of notes here at the end, some more stats here. The Colts had 29 total QB pressures in the Panthers game. And DeForest Buckner had 5 of them. Dio Dangbo had 4 of them. Jake Martin had 4. Tyquan Lewis had 4. Tommy Ade had 3. Kwity Paye had 3. Like 29 total pressures. They were getting after Bryce Young all day long. And it was nice to see the defense finally be able to do something. And yes, there is the caveat that it's the Panthers and it's Frank Reich's offense. Like we know plenty about that, right? And we dominated that game. We were supposed to dominate that game. So that they did exactly what they were supposed to do. So while yes, it's not, the most impressive thing that the defense could have done, it's also not a concern coming out of that game. I honestly was somebody that thought Bryce Young was going to end up having the best game of his young career so far. With the way the secondary's been playing, going into that game, it just felt like that. And the defense stepped up in a big way, even with Zaire Franklin out. Juju Brents was not there. So, again, defense needs to continue to step up. It would be nice to see him continue to be consistent in the aspect of being able to get off the field, being able to keep points off the board. But one thing I know is that we can't count on 2 touchdowns from the defense every single week. So the offense gonna have to do better. Can't be putting up 13 points and expecting to win on the offense. So hopefully it'll get better going forward. You look at what we've played so far. The Colts have played against 5 teams in the top 10 and fewest points allowed this season. Baltimore, who's first, Cleveland, who's third, New Orleans is 8th, Jacksonville twice, they're 9th. Tennessee is 11th, so just outside the top 10. And with all that, and with everything that's happened on the offense, Gardner Minshew playing for most of the year at this point, with some help from the defense in a couple of these games, we've been able to maintain scoring 20 every single game. And with the schedule that we have coming up, I think there's a really good chance that we're going to be able to pull off a lot of wins here at the end of the season. So the AFC South race probably going to get a little close. The records in this division probably going to look better than people thought because, admittedly, yes, the AFC South do have some of the easier schedules in the NFL this season. And for the Colts, we've already played pretty much every division game already. So all those games right there are out of the way, right? So hopefully what we've seen from the secondary can carry over and help this team continue to win. Even though, yes, we might not be a Super Bowl team with Gardner Minshew leading the way, it would be nice to see us be able to get back into the playoffs, maybe even make a little bit of noise and shock the world in the first round of the playoffs. You know what I mean? I just want to get back to the playoffs. I want to make sure that the Colts are a prominent brand. I want to make sure people remember who we are, especially going into next year with Anthony Richardson coming back. Let's rattle off some wins. Let's figure out who's going to be here next year, who's not, and continue to build for the future. But we need to institute a winning culture again. So I hope we're able to do that as the season continues to unfold. We're here at the midpoint of the season, sitting at 4-5, bye week after the game in Germany. Even though this season's been a roller coaster so far, I don't know about you, but roller coaster is kind of fun to me. So, I'm having a good time with it. Think we're going to have a winning record by the end of it. And it's a real good week to continue that winning streak as we play the Patriots, whether it's in Indy, in Foxborough, or in Germany. It doesn't matter. The Colts need to win against the Patriots. All right. And with that, that's going to wrap this video up. If you're not subscribed already, make sure you hit that sub button, especially if you're a returning viewer and you enjoy the content. I appreciate you stopping by for another video. And until next time, as always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.